Hello everybody, what's happening? My name's Neil, welcome along to Midlife Motors. Well, although the Mazda's in shot just now, this video's not going to be about the Mazda today. Mrs. Midlife Motors is about to jump in it and head out. We seem to be fighting over the keys for this car at the moment on the back of the last video that showed the upgrades that we did. Hopefully it'll pop out just now, the banner. Driving superbly. But today it's time to bring this car out of hibernation. And what I thought I'd do is I'm just gonna check all the fluids. We'll take it out. We'll go for a drive. I'm entering my 7th year with this car now, and I thought it would be a good time just to go for a gentle drive. And I'll kind of run through the reasons why I still hang on to this car. All the things that I think are great about it. A car that, I'll be honest with you, most people, oh Neil, are you moving on from that? And no. So that's today's video. The first thing I'm going to point out, the first reason I like this car, one of the things that I really like about this car is the rear profile. Let me demonstrate. This model of SLK is the 172, the previous model, the 171, I'd have to confess, has got a little bit of a more dramatic front. I think the front profile of this car, I wish they'd have developed that theme of the sort of F1 car look that the earlier car had. I mean, the ties with McLaren were much stronger back then, I appreciate that, but if they'd have developed it with this car, then I think it would have been would have been an even better look. But the rear, just I like the rear. It's spot on, it's wide, it's got the right amount of pipes, the sort of diffusory thing going on. It's just good. And when you look in the rear view mirror and you see the wider rear arch and the wider rear track, it's just, you know, you get that sense from the driving seat. So yeah, this is something I like about this car. It's a sexy rear end, and there's nothing wrong with a sexy rear end. I don't know if this is a good thing or just a handy to know, but in this car you can put the roof down when you're on the move. You've got to be going really slowly. I'm covering the brake, just letting it roll in first gear, but it will do it, which is quite good. So by the time we get to the end of the road, we're done. It's a nice place to be inside an SLK. It's a nice cabin. The seats are really comfortable, massively adjustable, and it's spacious. You feel like, you know, you've got an armrest, you've got your own sort of side of the car. Other cars that were considered included the F-Type. Now Mrs. Midlife Motors will say that's the car that she wanted. She preferred that. I did like the F-Type. It was a close choice. Sneaky little insight, this car actually replaced a 981S Boxster, which I just didn't get on with, but that's another video. Other cars, well, obviously you think about a Lotus, but I didn't want that sort of driving experience. We've got the Caterham for track days. A Lotus was, you know, you sit in a Lotus and you're rubbing shoulders, and this is more of a GT car, which is more of what I wanted. But yeah, just the interior, lovely place to be, lovely place to sit. Lots of miles can be done in this car. I do like that. I quite like this car's front end. It's not the best handling car. A 981S will catch an apex a lot easier than this car. I mean, it wouldn't stand a chance against it on a straight, but you know, as a driving weapon, if you like, then it's a different kettle of fish. But I do like the front end on this car. It turns in very, very, very sharp, and it means that it instills you with a bit more confidence. Everybody goes, oh, and that's okay, it wouldn't, you know, it can't handle. It's not a great handling car, but it's it feels like quite a safe handling car. I like to know in a car where the front end's going, and this car's good at that. The back end is a little bit more difficult to tell, but it doesn't snatch. I mean, it's not quick to react. If it starts to slide, it'll send you a text to tell you it's doing that. You've got masses of time to get the car back under control. So yes, it's not going to set lap times, but it's not going to scare you, it's not going to catch you out, and it's not going to get you in trouble. I know we're in a world of 400 horsepower hot hatches, and this is a car that makes a little bit more, I think 425, something like that. So, you know, you think, oh crikey, that's going to get beaten by a hot hatch, and probably in your 0 to 60 bragging rights, you might be right. I'm not really, if you've watched my videos, I'm not really a drag strip racer. I mean, that's just a bit, you know, not me. I like cars that can go around corners, so I bought an SLK. Hence my track days, etc., in the MX-5. But where this car does score when it's on an open road is mid-range. This car makes 398 torques, and we're talking proper torques, pound-feet, not Newton meters that make cars sound more powerful. I think to get that sort of torque level out of an R8, for example, forget the V8, you need the V10, and even then you just about make it. Similarly with a 911, if you haven't got a turbo one, you're not going to make 400 torques. So this car, mid-range, is gonna, you know, it sort of surpasses the mid, if you like, roadsters, and it takes it into a next level. The good flip side about that is it has monumental brakes on it, and 6-piston up the front, enormous rotors front and rear, and this car stops very, very, very quickly, which is important. Like I say, you do need to scrub off maybe a little bit more speed than the competitors when you're heading towards the corners. But let's have a look here. If we put the car in sport mode, drop it to 3rd gear, put our foot down. I mean, whoa! The mid-range is relentless, and then the brakes. The mid-range in these things are. So if you're taking one of these for a test drive, don't be too fussed about the 0 to 60 and how it feels leaving the showroom. Take it out on a street, better road, and accelerate between 40 and 70. And then you'll get an idea of where the straight line performance on this car lurks. Pulled over in my handy spot to have a quick whiz round the outside of the car, starting from my favourite angle, the rear, just coming around the side. I do like the fact on this car that it's got staggered wheels. They're 18s, they're 17s. I think the staggered profile, I had a car like that before, I think the staggered profile gives it a bit more of a sort of sportster look, a bit more of a butch stance, if you like. Yeah, I do quite like the side profile. Shame they don't do anything, but there you go. Coming around the front, not its best angle. They should have stuck with the 171 ethos of styling, but there you go. Can't have everything, can you? Not bad, but yeah, not its best. The monstrous brakes that I mentioned earlier, I mean, huge. That, like I was saying, they're 17-inch wheels, and you know the calipers have got absolutely no space around them. So yeah, when you step on these, they definitely work, which is good. There we go. Coming back round, I'll finish up my favourite angle, looking down the side of the car. The modes in this car as well, they make it quite easy to live with. I mean, you can put it in sport, you can put it in manual. I like to just leave it in comfort most of the time, and it just does its thing. It's got a lovely little sound when you're hovering, because it's got cylinder deactivation, this car. At the moment we're using 4 cylinders, and it's got a lovely little sound to it as it hovers between 4 and 8. If you can catch that sweet spot and just go along, it's a nice little burbly noise. Obviously when you go into 8 cylinders, it goes crazy noises, and I've done a video about that. I'll stick the link up now, and it just sounds like nothing on earth. I mean, the noises are probably why you have a V8, and this car doesn't let you down in that respect. Another thing, which might sound a little bit boring, another thing that I quite like about this car is that it's been quite cheap to run. I did a review of it when it was coming up for its 6th year service. I'll stick a link up the top here. Just running through the costs of what this car has involved, and it's not been catastrophic. It's really been quite a cheap car to run. Add to that the fact that it sits for quite a long time, and every time I get back in it, turn the key and it just fires up. So that's another reason it seems a car that seems a waste to sit around, but at the same time it doesn't mind it. It'll wait for you, and when you're ready to go for a drive, you'll enjoy it. So come on, Neil, there's got to be a few negatives. There's got to be a few negatives. There are. First one, the ride. Even in comfort mode that we're in just now, the ride is not what you'd call Rolls-Royce, as demonstrated there. The more modern stuff, I think, glides over undulations in the road better. In sport mode, it's fine. It stiffens up, and that's okay. That's what you expect. But you'd think this car would glide a bit better. That's a negative. Big fuel tank in this car, not too bad on fuel. I mean, you can, with cylinder deactivation, you'll get into the high 30s, put your foot down, that all changes. but you'll need a lot of money to fill it from empty to full. So, but that's a sign of the times more than anything, that rather than a criticism on the car. Doesn't have a diff in the back of this one, which the performance pack cars did have. I wish I could have spec'd this from new. I would have ticked the performance pack to get the diff. It suffers because it doesn't have a limited slip diff in the back of this when you're pushing on, definitely. That's something that you can get now. They can be retrofitted. Quaife do a good system, and we'll probably look into that in the not too distant future. Well, I was just about to open the bonnet because we can't really look at this car and not look at the soul of it, what it's all about. I just wanted to point out as well, though, this seems to be a well-built car. I have noticed it hasn't really picked up any stone chips. The alloys are, you know, they're not pitted or anything like that. It's well built, and I think from good materials. I mean, the Boxster, crikey, it got road rash in no time. This car hasn't got anything like that. I'm going to go against internet convention here and say that this is a better built car than a Boxster. I'd say at this era of Mercedes, they were building cars well back in 2015, the sort of mid-10s. They were using good materials, and the cars were coming out. Well, this doesn't rattle. This hasn't got a single squeak or anything on it. Okay, it's a low mileage car, but you know, I've been in many more expensive cars that have got even less miles that you get out of and think, crikey Moses, how did they get away with that? But anyway, enough waffle. Let's have a look at this car, because that is what this car is all about. That is why you buy this car. I think the idea with this car is you go out, you pay your money, and you get that engine. The rest of it, all of this stuff, is just thrown in for free. That's what you want. That's what you need. That's what I love. That's why I'll never sell this car. That's it then. That's the reasons why I still have this car, why I still love this car, and why you should get one. Well, okay, that's my advice, which is probably all wrong. If you read the motoring press, they'll tell you that I'm completely wrong and you should buy A, B, C and D instead of one of these. But I'm glad I've got it. I'm going to now take it for a drive and just enjoy it today. The sun has finally come out this year. If you've enjoyed this video, then if you can give us a thumbs up, that would be great. If you can subscribe below, I keep pointing to the wrong side when I say that. If you could subscribe below, even better. I'm going to turn the stereo on, because that's another great thing about this car. The stereo is superb, and just enjoy myself for an hour or two. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.